We have Geralt. I actually don't know if we succeeded in getting Triss. Does it still go up here, the one for Novigrad? I don't think it does. Yeah, because we had, we got Zoltan in the Novigrad area. We got Roach as well. But Triss had already come and gone. It had a checkmark next to her name as soon as the quest began. So I kind of took that to mean that she was going to, that we had succeeded and she was going to help us. But at the same time, like, how does she even know that we're going to be fighting the Wild Hunt in Kaer Morhen? So I feel like maybe that is not actually the case. And does that mean we have Geralt, all the Witchers at Kaer Morhen, Wolf School Witchers, and then just Roach, Zoltan, Hjalmar, and that's it? Because that's like, what, 8 people maybe? And again, like 8-ish people against an army? That's, you know, those numbers don't sound too good. Those numbers sound like they are not really working in our favor. Where's the actual fast travel? Right here. So, you know, getting some friends who were perhaps capable of actually providing a whole troop of people did sound intriguing. Now, of course, like the random Skelligers or random Temerians presumably are nowhere near as capable fighters as some of the leaders of those groups. So hard to say, like, actually which one would have been more significant to have on our side. But, we're just playing the numbers game. The numbers, well, they don't seem that good. But, like I said, I mean, despite us not, or we weren't able to get everyone to help us. In some cases, in the case of Croc, Siggy, the Emperor, we just couldn't get any assistance at all. But for some of those people, it seemed like the answer was, well, we couldn't have done anything. And we did get the sword from Croc, that's true. But, you know, like, I'm not sure we could have done anything to get him to actually supply us with any reinforcements. Let's save before chatting with you, Ermion. And, you know, I bring up that point of us not having a ton of people, in part because I also don't really expect much from Ermion here. He may not support us at all, because like I was saying, I don't think he's too happy with us after stealing the Mask of Ouroboros.
Can we talk?
Oh, we have not told you what happened at Hindersfjall. I suppose we could do that.
Jan and I went to Hindersfjall.
Oh, did you learn anything?
Ciri came through Lofoten. She was wounded when she arrived. Villagers nursed her back to health. Sadly, the Wild Hunt was on her trail. Followed her there. Ciri managed to escape, but the villagers...
I know. You needn't finish. I later spoke to those who survived. Suffice to say, Ciri was fortunate to escape. I trust you'll find her soon.
Have I already found those 2 Gwent cards we were missing? No, I have not. I have not found those Gwent cards yet. We are still waiting on those in Velen. So if you happen to know where those are, in theory, after chatting with Ermion here, we could make our way back over to Velen and try to track those down. But let's see what Ermion has to say with regard to helping us fight the Wild Hunt. Now, if we truthfully don't have the assistance of Triss, and we obviously don't have the assistance of Kira, then we have Yen, but that's about it when it comes to people who deal in magic. So having someone like Ermion in that regard would be pretty helpful. I mean, he's not, like, technically a sorcerer, but he's a druid. He can do some of that stuff, right?
The Wild Hunt will attack Kaer Morhen soon. Gonna need your help.
A Wild Hunt? Are you certain? So, you found Ciri?
Sort
I
of.
know where she is, and the Wild Hunt will also learn that as soon as I find her.
I see. I shall pack immediately. Leave tomorrow at the latest.
Wow!
Thank you.
No need. I raised the girl, and I've still a duty to her.
Ah.
I shall see you at Kaer Morhen.
Okay. Pleasantly surprised. I did not expect him to do that much.
The ice giant?
To help us, but at the same time, if he's the one who truthfully actually raised her, then that does make some sense that he would be perhaps more willing than anyone to help us out. I mean, by that logic, I would have thought that perhaps the Emperor would have been very willing as well, but of course he was not. So the shopkeeper at Claywitch may actually be one of the people that we need to chat with for Gwent's purposes. Okay, that is perhaps worth checking out now, because I think that Ermine was the last person. Yeah, Ermine was the last person to try to recruit here. So one other thing that I wanted to do before I forget is I don't think we've taken the chance to read up on some of our new people that we've learned about, like Avallac'h. I was saying previously that I wanted to read more about him because very mysterious. Of course, he was Uma, and we uncursed him, and he was doing an awful lot to help Ciri, but then nonetheless, Geralt still said that he was not an ally, which caught me a little bit off guard. So I'm curious to see what this says, as well as seems like just about every time we tried to recruit someone, we got some kind of update to their description. So I wonder if maybe it'll just give us a little bit more information, as to how exactly they are going to help us. Let's start with Avallac'h, though. The being trapped within Uma's tortured husk turned out to be Avallac'h, a powerful sage of the An-El's elves. I suppose, you say powerful sage, and I was just talking about how we perhaps don't have too many magic users trying to assist us here. And Avallac'h could potentially do that, but then again, he's not exactly in the best of health right now, so maybe not terribly likely. Let's see. Geralt had made his acquaintance years before. Already during these prior encounters, Avallac'h had displayed an intense and frankly rather unnerving interest in the Elder Blood and its bearer, Ciri. That is the reason why the Wild Hunt are supposedly after her. So for him to be very interested in Ciri for that reason is also perhaps a bit concerning, although he was at least seemingly protecting her from them, so perhaps need to give him at least some benefit of the doubt. His exact motives were unclear at the time, and he made no particular effort to explain them to Geralt. Yeah, Geralt likewise had no idea what bound Ciri and the elf now. There was no doubt Avallac'h had helped her. He had saved her numerous times from the Wild Hunt, but why? Alas, the sage, quivering on a razor's edge between life and death, offered no answers to Geralt's burning questions. He did, however, muster enough strength to utter a crucial piece of information: Ciri's location. Yeah, so unfortunately, just more questions, not much in the way of answers there, other than to say that yes, even when Geralt did previously meet Avallac'h, it was basically more the same. He expressed interest in Ciri because she possesses Elder Blood, but didn't say why. So, interesting. Okay. See? Trying to check if we have any updates on Ceres after trying to recruit her, although obviously she ultimately did not directly assist us, so perhaps not. And usually there's a bit of a little, highlight around their name if there is an update for them. Let's see, do we have anything new on Ciri? And the other weird thing is that sometimes they don't necessarily show up in order. Bottom paragraph there happened a while ago. Lever, no. Looking for maybe Croft? To the islanders, honor was the most prized of virtues. Croft thus agreed without hesitation to live up to the pledge he made many years ago on behalf of himself and his entire clan, and supported the search for Cyrilla with any means Skellige could offer. And that's true, but at the same time, he couldn't offer very much. So, in some ways, I wonder if we had rejected the sword, if he might have said, "Oh no, but I insist, we need to do something to help you," and might have had some other means that could have been more useful than a sword that is not actually any better than the sword that we're currently using. But, I don't know, that's pretty speculative. And Dijkstra, did we get any new information on him after trying to recruit him? No, Dijkstra did not aid the persecuted mages out of... Oh no, that's another instance in which he did not aid us. Anyone who thought Dijkstra had broken all ties with the world of political schemers and plotters? No, it doesn't seem like it. I mean, I also assumed that we had to basically recruit people right away before we actually try to track down Syria, which may not have been the case, but I mean, it does seem like that's the next thing on our main quest, so, you know, it makes me wonder, like, okay, sure, we tried to do some stuff with Siggy for tracking down Radovid and potentially killing him, but we didn't actually kill Radovid, at least not yet, so I wonder if, like, maybe if we had somehow found a way to delay trying to recruit him until later on when we actually were able to do something more directly to assist him in trying to overthrow Radovid, maybe he would have been more willing to help us, but I just don't think that actually can work. I think we have to try to track down Ciri first. I didn't think Amir had any new updates. Then Iridan, I thought was the name we were seeing. Yeah, the King of the Wild Hunt. The current object of his hunt was Cirilla, whose power he wanted to harness for his own uses. The only obstacle in his path, Geralt of Rivia. Ermion did, of course, assist us. Let's see. Despite his difficult character and his somewhat testy relationship with Geralt, Ermion agreed at once to travel to Kaer Morhen, help defend Ciri from the Wild Hunt's forces. Yeah, I, for that reason, was surprised, but, you know, given his history with Ciri, I suppose that was enough. Polan has his own entry. I mean, he's a pretty minor character, but that is cool. I realized we had our own entry for Geralt. Let's see, who else? Hjalmar? Anything here? When discussing Hjalmar's heroic deeds, it surely must be mentioned that he did not hesitate to support Geralt by answering his call defending Ciri at Kaer Morhen. Okay, it's not giving us much in the way of additional information here. You're another member of the Wild Hunt. Is this the Wild Hunt person that we fought very early on? General of the Wild Hunt and a frequent guest in Geralt's nightmares, have been chasing Ciri for quite some time, striving to deliver her to his ruler, Iridan. Okay, so you are the person who is most directly pursuing Ciri, trying to bring her to Iridan, the other guy, but Iridan is not actually trying to, like, directly run all over the place to track her down? Because, you know, you do both look basically identical when you have all your armor on, but okay. Wait, did we actually find another this powerful and brutal warrior fought countless battles and campaigns for conquest waged by the On-El in other worlds? He prized physical confrontation above all else, seeking out direct, bloody skirmishes where opponents pit their strength, agility, and training against each other in a contest to the death. Nothing here saying that we've killed him, so I think we fought a different member of the Wild Hunt that I just remember that they had a name, so I didn't remember if it was you or someone else. But Kira, yeah, that we're not gonna talk about her. Who else would be? It's another large unanswered question. What is gonna happen with Philippa? Surely she has some part to play going forward. Same with Radovid. But anyone else? The mysterious elf? Presumably, yeah. Well, we know at this point that it was Avlok, right? We basically confirmed that. Do we have any info to confirm what Triss is or is not doing to help us here? I don't think I'm seeing anything, at least not at the bottom, to suggest whether or not she'll actually be there. Roach, this is the other person I was curious about. This might be the last one. Did we check? When asked to help defend Kaer Morhen, Roach kept his word and went to the keep, lending his considerable martial prowess in the fight against the Wild Hunt. When his considerable martial prowess, yes. I thought he might have said that he was planning to bring at least Vess if he could. I would hope, perhaps, additional Temerians as well, but don't know. Even had Vess not owed Geralt her life, she would have come to the defense of Kaer Morhen all the same, for she would follow Vernon Roach into the very bowels of the Abyss. Okay. Does suggest that Vess will be tagging along with us. That's a good sign. I think at this point, you know, Yennefer, we obviously know will be there. Zoltan, that is one person that is at the very bottom of the list. But we know he will help us, but to what extent? He planned to repay his debt by gathering a prized collection of Gwent cards. Yeah, we gave him a bunch of rare Gwent cards, and in return, he's going to risk his life fighting a spectral army. So risking to ever given the cutthroat nature of Novigrad went circles at the time, and one that would have never worked without Geralt's help. True, yes, but I was kind of hoping that you were going to say if he actually had friends he was going to bring along with him, or if it was just going to be Zoltan. But doesn't seem as though we get much additional information on that. So, let's head on over to our fast travel spot, which apparently is over this way. And we will check out where, supposedly, we may still have someone who we have not played at Gwent. It's really the... This is a fast travel spot, yes. This is not the one that I thought we were going to. Fought a Leshen here a while back. Actually, not so long ago. It was one of the last things we did at, in Skellige. At least, one of the last things we did before we started going through the water and whatnot. Okay, so, we were saying, go to Velen, shopkeeper in Claywitch. I don't even remember where Claywitch is. Claywitch. Okay. Let's check it out. So, fingers crossed here that it turns out that this is the person who has our 2 missing Gwent cards. Sounds like we may not actually need to play him. Might actually be Gwent cards that we have to purchase. Which, I vaguely remember that on one occasion, we deliberately did not purchase some Gwent cards because they had the same name as some cards that we already had. So it's like, why would we buy more of those? So I suspect that might be the case here. Let's just use that real quick and... Oh, it's 2 of the weapon ones and none of the armor ones? Okay, a little strange, but sure. Okay, so... Which person, though? This guy over here, maybe? You?
Oh, Saviour's here.
Oh! We haven't even played you at Gwent, it seems.
Show me what you have in stock.
You have Gwent cards? Oh, you have several Gwent cards. Wow. Definitely. Okay. Let's see, this is a 1 strength card that's a medic for Nilfgaard. That would have been nice to have, for sure. 10 strength Nilfgaardian unit, yes. We do have one of the Black Infantry archers, but to get a second one also certainly would have been helpful. Oh, the Dragon Hunter for Northern Realms is one of the ones with Type Bond. And at one point in time, we did have in our deck. So that means that if you play them next to each other, then they get doubled from 5 strength to 10 strength. So, you know, we had 2 in our deck at one point in time, which meant that if we had them both together, we could get them up to 10 strength apiece, which is good. But if you don't have 2 of them at the same time, then they aren't that great in that case. You know, they're just 5 strength, which is remarkably average, or at this stage in the game, perhaps even below average. Probably wouldn't make our deck. That's why we took them out. But to have 3 of them, then you can double up again, getting them all to, I believe it goes up to 20 in that case, not 15. So that's good. I mean, if you can get them all, which, of course, is not guaranteed. Have them all in your hand simultaneously, but... Okay. What? Calmer? Don't remember ever seeing this one, and also looks like it's pretty bad. Just 3 strength, no special abilities. And this might be our last card. Sweers? 2 strength, range combat, no special abilities, so it's junk. But yes, I'm pretty sure we just got the achievement for perhaps picking up all those cards. While we're here, let's just sell not the sword. That, where is it? Winter's Blade is one that we need to make sure that we do not get rid of. But the Digger, we could probably dump. And or this stuff here. Not terribly valuable, but yeah, so be it. Anything else? Do we have, like, any furs? Saddles? Yeah. Certainly sell that. This guy actually has a decent amount of money for a random trader. A little bit surprised. Got you. We have some furs, for sure. So we'll dump these. Looks like you'll be able to afford them all. Okay. That looks good to me. And collect them all! Perhaps the longest quest in the game we have now completed.
So long.
In fact, I think it is. Because, you know, you say, well, I mean, Leeds, there's the main quest, right? Yes, but the main quest changes very frequently. You know, you have one name, one separate quest for, like, Velen, or, I mean, multiple in Velen, and then multiple in Novigrad, and then, you know, it gets split up into lots of bite-sized chunks. But the Gwent quest, we've had it from the get-go, and only now did we finally finish it, so that is pretty cool to be done with that. Now, perhaps, after doing that, we, say, play you. I don't think there are any cards for us to gain out of it, because, well, of course we did just see that we got the last of the Gwent cards, but perhaps this is a time to experiment a bit with some of those new cards we picked up. Maybe we do try to squeeze in some of those Dragon Hunters and see if we can make them work. I mean, this is just a random dude, so probably not going to have the best deck here.
Cards, Gwent specifically.
This should be fairly easy, I would think. And if we were to add in those Dragon Hunters, just go over them real quick to show you these guys here. So we picked up another one of them. Previously we only had 2, now we have 3. So if we get them all and play them all next to each other, then they will actually double to 10 and then double again to 20. Which would certainly be better than, say, someone like Triss. Besides how Triss is a hero and therefore can't be affected by any special cards like a Scorch that would remove the Dragon Hunters. That's really the big risk we'd be running. So, I mean, not sure if we'll actually want to do it long term. But, let's just throw them all in. I was going to say, like, ideally you'd probably remove some of your other cards and continue to have your deck at the minimum size, or close to it. Might have actually had our deck above the minimum size there, but can we take out you? Certainly can, but might have been able to take out other people as well previously. So, we'll give it a shot here. Should we want to... Oh, I did... No, don't forfeit. Actually play him. Okay, so... see, did we end up with any of those Dragon Hunters? We got 2 of them. Does mean they're pretty solid when you play them together. If we can get 3, that would be great. And they are, I think I see, it's either Nilfgaard or that might even be Northern Realms. In which case, we might expect to see a fair bit of Siege. Hard to say how much melee we might see, so I don't know if we want Fighting Frost. Let's try dumping that. Catapult is strong. Do you have another Catapult? We do not, because that's another type bond that does do well when there are multiple of them out there. We actually have very little in the way of Siege right now. Our leader ability doubles the Siege row. So I would like to get more Siege cards here. Could potentially dump either Scorch or Decoy. I mean, they are both cards that can be very good. And with Stennis, we'll draw into a few more cards. So maybe we just rely on him to give us some of those Siege cards. Let's try dumping Scorch. And we did get another Siege, so that's pretty good. Let's see. Oh, well. This is, of course, in Velen, and potentially what you could make the case is a low-level area, so in addition to this being some random dude who's not tied to any quest, I think his deck is going to be pretty atrocious. As you can see there, a 1 strength card. Let's play Stennis. There's, I suppose, a non-zero chance that they steal him with the Decoy and try to play him back, but if they do, then we'll just turn around and steal him with our Decoy. But yeah, you know, you've played 2 cards, both of which have 1 strength, so I'm not terribly concerned. We also drew into the Dragon, which is pretty big. I think we also drew into another one of our Siege cards. So we could, for example, drop 2 of the Dragon Hunters in this round and potentially just win it with that. Yup. So, pardon me. Don't mind if I do, but there you have it. Take round 1, draw an additional card, because we're Northern Realms, we draw a card when we win a round. Now, I suppose there's non-zero chance that we could have ended up drawing into the third Dragon Hunter, in which case it would have been preferable to try to save those guys for next round. But, I mean, we have 2 medics, right? So we could bring him back right now if we really wanted to, which is kind of tempting. I think we just go all out here in round 2, because I don't think this guy has any chance of being able to keep up with us. So let us, I mean, let's lead off with a hero. I mean, that's still the right way to go, in case they do have anything like Scorch, but I think it's pretty unlikely in this case. I think we're just gonna go all out and throw out way too many points for them to ever be able to catch us. They are Northern Realms. Double check which leader ability that is. No, not that. This. Impenetrable Fog. Is that range nerf? I think that's a range nerf. Not siege. Siege is torrential rain, right? And we don't have any people in the range row other than heroes. Those heroes are not going to be affected by your hero ability there, so I think we're totally fine. It's not like you can spoil our party. So I think we, yeah. Basically just throw down way too many points for you to handle. I mean, normally this would be a bad idea. If you were expecting for your opponent to be able to keep pace with you, you know, you'd actually want to strategically decide when to invest in your playing your good cards in a round and when not to. And because we won round 1, we theoretically have a round to burn. We could let them do their thing in round 2 and then come back to take the win in round 3. But since I don't think they stand a chance, I'm, you know, throwing all caution to the wind here a little bit. Yeah, they're, for the most part, just using a bunch of the cards that you have at the very beginning. And we could now play the dragon and destroy both of these two. Just tempting. Although I do wonder if perhaps we can wait a little bit longer and see if they have even more 5-strength cards to play. Because I don't think they're going to have anything higher than 5. It's mostly just, if they have more cards, are they going to have 5-strength? Or they might even be lower than that. In which case it's not going to get Scorched, because this will only hit the highest units in the melee row if they have 10, if the melee row has 10 or more strength in total. It has 10 or more strength in total. The highest units are both tied for 5, so it would destroy both of these guys. So what I really want is for you to just keep on playing 5 cards in the melee row, 5 strength cards in the melee row, and then we'll destroy them all when we play the dragon. Yep, like this. Keep them coming. Alright, now I think we probably bring back the Dragon Hunters. I'm not sure we're going to have much use for this decoy here, other than maybe replaying a medic, although we don't even have enough stuff to bring back with a third medic, so may not matter. We'll play you. Oh, we will have range cards in this round here that are not heroes. They will get affected by their leader ability. That is true. Oh no, torrential rain is. It is. What did I? Hold on. You get an impenetrable fog card from your deck and play it. Okay, so that was just a card from your hand. That was not your hero ability. I was like, did I misread it before? Did I forget which one is the one that nerfs the range row? Which one nerfs the siege row? No, I think it just so happened that you had additional weather cards out there. So I think what we do here is, yeah, you did spoil the party a little bit, but we can return the favor. Boom. Now, in theory, we could have waited a little bit longer to see if you had more 5-strength cards to play in the melee row. You may have, you may not have. You did a melee nerf. You're going to nerf every single row because your leader ability nerfs the range row. So, I mean, that would normally make it very hard to put up any points, but you have no heroes and we have a bunch, so you're hurting yourself more than you're hurting us. And you still have not yet nerfed the range row, but I assume you're about to do that. Not that it's going to make much of a difference here. You're going to play your 1-strength melee card, so that would not have gotten hit by the Scorch, so it doesn't really matter here. And now we'll throw you out here. Now you're going to use your leader. Oh, no, you're going to pass? Okay, I mean, yeah, it would have lowered your strength in the range row, but it would have lowered us by a lot more than that because we had a lot more going on there. And we'll throw down our leader ability to double the siege row. It's not doing much because we got our siege nerf. But, and we could use our decoy to do basically nothing, but that does basically nothing. So we'll just take the victory here. And that may be one of, if not potentially even our last game of Gwent. I don't know, because obviously we have collected all the Gwent cards, so there's no more Gwent cards to be had. But are we gonna run into additional people to play Gwent that are just random dudes and go for that, even if we aren't gonna get anything special out of it? Maybe. I mean, there's a chance there are still some quest-related people for Gwent. I doubt it, though. It's, we've done all the, like, Gwent's old pals and whatnot, so don't think we're going to find more of that. But I think we are perhaps done with Gwent altogether. And that means we'll head over to Skellige now and head back to the main quest. Now, we don't know where exactly the Isle of Mists or whatever is. I thought it was potentially going to be here or here, because those were, I think, the only two islands that we did not go to for a main quest. I mean, we kind of did briefly for this one, but the only ones that were smaller scale islands that still had names. This one might have, and this one did as well, but I don't think it's gonna be this. So I think ultimately it just said basically hop in a boat. So I don't know if it matters what boat we go to. And this, I know you may be seeing this and thinking, well, Lids, you haven't done this one yet. This one looked like it was bugged out, and that I'm pretty sure we have, in fact, taken the hidden treasure here, but for some reason the icon did not go away. We checked this one on several occasions, so probably just pass on that. And is there a boat here in this spot? Because if so, then maybe we just head straight over, but no, it does not appear as though there is. There is one here, that'd be the closest, but I mean, if we really speculate to that extent, maybe we just head over to Kertrolda.
The curse that held Uma proved hard to lift.
And I assume that once we do actually make it into a boat, then the game will say, okay, well, this is the place where you're trying to go, or, you know, we'll get some kind of divine signal. Havelock will contact us from Kaer Morhen, psychically.
Then hidden her away on the Isle of Mists.
Who knows?
No such thing as bad
Okay.
ships or bad weather.
No such thing as bad ships or bad weather. We're perhaps about to test that theory. Okay, so I assume this is just showing us to a random boat, and this is a coincidence that this one is getting highlighted. Let's save real quick before we do anything drastic here. Okay. Wrong side of the boat. So, what happens now? Travel to the Isle of Mists. Sure. But where is it? Where is it? Ah! Really? Really? So we were here previously. We were checking it out, and it did look significant, and I did suspect that we were going to head back here at some point in time. However, there's a fast travel spot that's, like, right next to here. It's not showing up right now because we're in a boat, but it's kind of tempting to just use that fast travel spot instead, especially because this is UNDVIK, and it'll be a bit of a pain to sail over there. But I think we do sail just in case there are specific plot-related things that happen while we're out in the water. But, yeah, I did suspect that something was going to end up happening here at some point in time, so it just seemed like it was perhaps too close to UNDVIK itself for us to actually think that was going to be the final location that we were going for. the key location. But I mean, we were there before, which is interesting, because does that mean that Ciri was there the entire time, and in theory we were, like, walking right past her? I am kind of curious to see what comes of that. That's the lighthouse, which is, yeah, actually still part of Caer Trolda. Or rather, Ard-Skellig, I should say. Not Caer Trolda, but Ard-Skellig. And there was a big tower. I think that is quite possibly the place where we're going to end up going. But, that is UNDVIK that we're seeing further on the horizon. Is it the particularly tall island, though, or is that actually something else? That might be something else. Yeah, I'm looking at, like, this one here that's straight ahead of us. What is that? Yeah, that's further north. Huh. We did go there. Unless it's... Wait, what? Roach has been here the whole time. We traveled to... Wait, no! We went to Velen and we called Roach. Why is Roach still here? I don't understand. Roach. How? I don't know. But, anyway, we'll head over to UNDVIK, and we did, of course, initially hear that the waters were particularly rough on the way to UNDVIK. Say, a whale. But we deliberately kind of went an indirect route our initial time that we went from Ard-Skellig to UNDVIK. And so we avoided much of the currents and rocky shorelines that people were warning us about. Then when we went around and sailed across the Seven Seas of Skellige, we were approaching from a different angle, and we didn't really experience much of that. So for the most part, we just have not ever experienced that at all. So maybe we just head straight for UNDVIK and we see how bad it is, just to get a sense for what we were missing out on. Because I am kind of curious. You know, in theory, it is kind of dangerous. We might run into some sirens. You know, I kind of sidestepped some of them previously. But, might run into some of those as well. But, of course, our boat could also sink if we are to hit a bunch of rocks and whatnot. See some sirens to the left, but we aren't really going in that direction here. We aren't going for, like, the main part of UNDVIK. I mean, that's part of the other reason why I was surprised to see that this is technically the Isle of Mist, is because in many ways I just thought this was part of UNDVIK. You know, like, yes, there's like a little bridge connecting it, true, sort of, and then there's like some ice in the water that we ended up walking on, and it's like a quest or two for a treasure hunt in that area that we did when we were first on UNDVIK. But it just didn't really feel like it was a separate island. Felt significant, yes, in some way, shape, or form. Thought that we were going to end up back there, but didn't feel like it was necessarily a distinct island. So that's why I'm a little bit surprised to see that that's actually going to be the place we're ending up here. Though I do suspect that at least that other place is a little bit north of here that I was pointing out earlier, where I thought was perhaps the most likely place where I was suspecting would be the Isle of Mist. I do still think we're going to end up being there at some point in time, perhaps soon, when we're making our runaway with Ciri, because at least according to Avlok, it sounded like as soon as we take her... Okay, now it's going to be hard to avoid all these sirens. There's a lot of sirens. And they're kind of like spawning in all over the place. Okay. Yes, we are fighting some, and Geralt is taking an eternity to get off, as he usually does. So, man, it is like deja vu all over again here. Been here, done this. Geralt, hold on. The reason why you're not using your crossbow right now is because your crossbow is not currently equipped. Hold on just a second. 1 second here. We have the discombobulator procrastinator, not the crossbow. It is a little bit problematic. Why do we not have the crossbow equipped? Did we accidentally sell our crossbow? If so, then that's actually a really big problem right now. We may have accidentally sold our only crossbow. I think we had it equipped until we threw on the procrastinator. And when we did that, perhaps it started showing up in our inventory, and so we sold it when I did not actually want to sell it, and we very much need it right now. So this is interesting. How do we sort this out then? How do we fight a bunch of sirens without a crossbow? I ask myself. Can we swim our way over without the actual boat? How far away are we? We're pretty far. It doesn't seem as though there are actually going to be any plot-related things, unless once we get closer, we'll start to have them happen. But it is tempting, you know, to like fast travel either here, which is pretty close. I mean, well, we just like have to loop around this way and try to find a more indirect route that avoids the sirens, or go here. The only problem is here we don't have a boat. So, yeah, this is no joke, actually a huge problem. There are a lot of sirens. We're not gonna be able to avoid them if we are to go in the boat. Can we punch them? Can we punch the sirens? Because, that would be very helpful right now. I think we legitimately don't have a crossbow anymore. Now, we could, of course, like, try to find a way to go back and buy a crossbow somewhere. I think we do have one in storage, but it's too high a level for us to actually use. I actually don't even know where crossbows are being sold, because so rarely has that been relevant to us. I don't think it shows up as a quest item either. Don't think. So, this is not really the challenge that I thought we were going to run into. Problem is, at this point, with how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sirens, I think, are following us. I am not sure that we can even get back in the boat and retreat at this point, because I think the sirens would basically just immediately destroy our boat, right? So we can't even like go back to Karatrolda and try to use that as a way to get to a fast travel spot, or find a different boat, or buy a new crossbow. So you know what that means. That means we're swimming this thing, baby. We're gonna have an army of sirens following us by the time we're done, but apparently they're struggling to keep up with us, so this might just be crazy enough to work. I did have to readjust my finger on the controller there for a second, and it did allow some of the sirens to catch up a little bit more to us. As to whether they'll actually be able to cut us off, that remains to be seen, because there is one that is now directly in front of us, which is concerning. And the number of sirens is increasing, yes. But we are getting fairly close at this point. So, dare I say, I'm becoming increasingly optimistic that this plan might actually work. There might, in fact, be sirens that are directly below us right now, because we are, like, bobbing up and down in the water. I don't know if that's because there are sirens. No, I don't think there are sirens technically on top of us right now. Those are just the waves. But, now they retreat. Now they run away. Dare I say we ought to save here? Strangely enough. Okay, so again, don't actually know if there are any like quest-related things that only happen, or like special messages that you only get when you're in a boat, when you're swimming over here. Because that could potentially be the case. But given the circumstances, I'm not sure we can make that happen. I mean, we could potentially, if we really wanted to. We could potentially like try swimming here and then take a boat from one part of UNDVIK over here. But that's, you know, maybe not. I mean, it's a little bit further than where we are right now. It just means that we'll have to double back a bit in the boat. Just in case, let's do it. Obviously, like I said, I have no idea if that's the case or not, but I can foresee if there is, in fact, any quest-related stuff that you can only, or like, I keep saying quest-related, but really, like, plot-related things, I should say. There are some plot-related things that you can only experience when you're actually in a boat, because the game told you specifically to be in a boat to get here. Then I can imagine people would, you know, once people would be very it would be very strange if we were to miss out on that opportunity because we ultimately had to swim our way over. So in the interest of hopefully not missing out on any of that stuff, let's swim over here instead, and then we'll take one of these boats and sail on over. But the other thing to note is that, of course, Alblok was saying that as soon as Ciri leaves this island, Wild Hunt will immediately know where she is and will immediately be able to track her down. So I don't exactly know how that's going to play out. I mean, we have had, at least on one occasion when we've been controlling Ciri, had circumstances in which we have quite literally had to run from the Wild Hunt as Ciri. And or at least on 2 occasions. I remember on one occasion, if we were too slow, we would just outright fail. I'm thinking of, that was the first time, actually, that we controlled Ciri, after the Thrones of Cryptback Bog, completing that quest. Then there was the one in Novigrad with Dandelion, when on that occasion, we were... I don't think... I mean, we were a little bit pokey at times. We just, like, I vaguely remember, would slow down and attempt to heal up a bit. And I don't think we seem to be at any risk of failing for that reason, but I do wonder if we might find ourselves in a similar chase situation with both Geralt and Ciri. But we are here now. We are at UNDVIK. We've made landfall. So for all of you who were laughing when I said perhaps we ought to swim, here you have it. It's not so bad after all. And okay, we also apparently missed that before.